I swear my Armored Core 6 senses had to have been tingling this morning because I woke up earlier than I normally do, thinking, what the hell? So I got up and I'm like, I'm going to make an episode for the channel. We can get the taste cast out when I wanted, so I got to put something out for you guys. But is there anything to talk about? I look online and it's all Armored Core 6. Not only is it Armored Core 6, it's gameplay, so I'm really excited to watch this. We also have a couple of videos from IGN talking about details. We're going to watch it all because I need the info, I need the gameplay. As you guys know, I'm a big Armored Core fan, love Armored Core, been really excited ever since we got the official reveal for Armored Core. And as you guys know, if you follow the channel regularly, I covered the leaks that came out, I think last January on Armored Core. So I've been very much anticipating this game, and I cannot wait to play it. But I also, before we get to that point, can't wait to see it. And we're going to watch that today. So I think we should just jump into it, because I could just sit here and gush all day about how I'm really excited to watch this. But I haven't watched this yet, so let's just do it. All right, first up, we got an official gameplay reveal and release date trailer. Let's just watch this, because I am giddy, bruh.
We're close to Rubicon. Wake the dog up.
I'm so excited.
Handler Walter verified. Activating cerebral coral control device.
This one has such a darker tone. I love it. It's a very modern From Software. I just hope the gameplay is Armored Core, not Dark Souls. I can't talk.
Augmented human C4621 has awakened.
It looks like Armored Core. Scanning thing, hovering. That's a crazy. Like this thing from Star Wars. Can he drive through them? Ah! Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm so happy. It looks like Armored Core. The gameplay, not just
One
visually.
of the infamous Handler Walter's hounds. Interesting.
Oh, it's so cool looking.
You ready to climb the wall?
Yes.
Call sign Raven. Priority subject for termination. High on the list.
A coral
I feel like I gotta rewatch this. There's so much shit happening.
Watch out.
Why hide behind another's
I feel like the enemies are more designed than they have been in the past. Obviously, it's more modern and new, but
Let's see how far they can fly. On borrowed wings.
oh fuck! I'm so stoked. All right, what do we got here? Digital editions. Pre-order now. Get Melander C3 G13 special customization Tenderfoot. Is that like just a visual style? Standard edition, deluxe edition includes game and digital art, blah, blah, blah. And then August 25th this year, dude, I am so excited. This is a day one buy for sure. All right, well, in case you didn't gather from that, I don't even remember what the hell just happened for me personally, whatever the hell I just said. Whoa, 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 what is this? What is this? What is that shit? Oh, I need that figurine. That is so dope. Well, I'm getting the collector's edition. You get some stickers. All right, I'm all over the place. It's early. I'm still kind of tired. But I am so excited for this. I am 100% getting that special edition, collector's edition. All right, so first things that come to mind is I have to play this. It looks so good. It looks like Armored Core, obviously with better graphics, newer game. One thing I was trying to talk about while I watched this, but couldn't really think straight, was the enemies look more designed than I'm used to in Armored Core. Now, it's been a long time since we got an Armored Core, so there's a lot of time there to evolve everything. But the enemies remind me of a post Dark Souls, Sekiro, Elden Ring, From Software, where they seem like they've put a little more thought into the design outside of just making sure that they're mech-like. They really have some more intricate designs, which I think is really interesting. It's kind of interesting to see an Armored Core that still looks like Armored Core, which is so important to me, but just with some slight different design philosophies going on. I also noticed that the environments, and again, it's a newer game, so you expect it to look better, but the environments look way more intricate than Armored Core used to have in terms of map design. Armored Core, as much as I love it, was always a bit minimal in its map design from the beginning all the way up to 5. It was a lot of big open rooms, which of course you need to be able to, fly around and stuff like that. But very, very basic geometry, just big open rooms, big open areas, tight corridors. And this, we still have a lot of that, but it seems like there's a lot more design going on in terms of details, in terms of objects in the environment. One of the scenes earlier looked like a big open area almost, which kind of reminds me of what From Software has been doing in their more recent development. Even back to like Demon Souls, their map design has become, in my opinion, one of the best in gaming, and easily. And if they can bring some of that philosophy into Armored Core while maintaining the Armored Core gameplay, that would be amazing. Yeah, so anyway, graphics look great. The design looks awesome. I'm so happy that they didn't go with the Armored Core 5 look that they ended the series with originally. Bringing it back, they're going back to a more, Armored Core 4 all the way back visual style that's very bleak and dark looking, which I kind of love because I'm assuming this story will stand alone. And so this world that they're crafting feels familiar, but also very different. It's very eerie looking. It's very From Software now looking, which I really am excited about because it just feels fresh, but also familiar, kind of like what I said. Don't know the details on the story, but I remember in the leak they kind of talks about some stuff. I'm sure that's changed by now, but hopefully they got some details. I think they do in one of these videos we're gonna watch. But yeah, it looks awesome. A lot of my concerns in terms of like, are they just gonna reskin a Dark Souls style game and make it look like Armored Core? I have been, I'm not worried about it now. This looks like Armored Core. This looks like the Armored Core that I want. The environments look so cool. They're like, that's such an improvement. Not just an improvement because the graphics are better. The philosophy of design has changed since the last Armored Core. It's been a long time, and I think for the better. I'm very happy with how the environments are looking. They also look really varied, which is nice because with Armored Core, you got to be put into situations where you're going to be jetting around the air if you build your mech that way, or sometimes you'd be stuck in close quarters. And it looks like they're still trying to maintain that philosophy. I am all over the place just watching this. I don't know where to begin. The combat looks good too. I would like to see a little longer segments of combat, but we're seeing little blips. We're seeing, machine guns, missiles. The detail on the missiles, like separating and launching, looks really cool. We got the boosting, which is huge. That's my play style. I know I got some friends with it that are into the tank treads, the more spider-like legs, but I'm definitely a guy who likes to boost around in the air a lot, so I'll be trying to make some light mechs myself, and it looks like I'm going to be able to do that. Also, I'm hoping at the very least they can bring, at the very least, the same amount of attachments that like the last couple Armored Cores had, but I'm hoping they can offer more, because it's been so long and it's a newer game, and FromSoftware is a much bigger dev now than they were back then. But from what I'm seeing, and the swords look fucking dope, it looks like there's already a varied amount of attachments and weapons that we're seeing even in this trailer. I'm gonna have to like watch it over and over and over again, slow it down just to find out that crazy missile system. That's that shit I'm talking about when it comes to like the enemy design. It just seems way more interesting. Some of these bosses kind of remind me of like a Dark Souls boss, which is I don't know if they're bosses, but they kind of look like one, which is interesting. As long as it doesn't play like Dark Souls, but you get some crazy boss fight like that, I don't mind. Just as long as it's not just like, lock on and rolling constantly. Obviously you're not going to be rolling in this, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, trailer is awesome. I can't wait to play this. It's coming out this year. I'm very excited, and very happy with how it's coming, especially after the leaks that I covered like a year ago. A lot of the pictures I saw looked modern, but they didn't look this clean. Obviously that was an early build, and so it's come a long way. It's looking really good. So, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this trailer. What stood out to you? What are you excited about? Are you not excited somehow? Let me know why in the comments below. Look at that environment. That looks so fucking cool. Let's jump into the info segments. All right, we got a trailer breakdown we're going to watch real quick, and then we have one that goes over story, combat, and setting details, which I'm really excited about. So let's just jump into the rewind real quick and see if there's things we missed, which I'm sure there is. There's so much going on there. Let's go.
We just got a brand new look at the first Armored Core game in about a decade. The highly anticipated Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon. But that's not all. IGN also got a chance to get a sneak peek at the trailer in advance, along with some added insight from the developers at FromSoftware themselves to break down some of the finer elements of the trailer. So, with that said,
God, the
let's
effects
rewind.
are better too. I was just looking at like the fire from the boosting and stuff.
Take a
Looked
closer
really
look
fucking
at the
good.
first gameplay trailer for Armored Core 6. The trailer opens up on a shot orbiting the planet Rubicon, the setting of Armored Core 6's story. The trailer doesn't explain much about what's happening here, but FromSoftware was kind enough to fill me in on some backstory and context. Armored Core 6 takes place in a universe where space travel has become commonplace, and extraterrestrial corporations and resistance groups are fighting over control of a rare substance known as coral.
Activating cerebral coral control device.
It's a different group. Sounds like Armored Core.
Found on the planet Rubicon. Coral is a mysterious substance that is not only extremely valuable, but also very versatile, as it can be used in fuel, materials, and even medicine. Hence, the struggle and fighting over it. You play as a mercenary who finds himself on Rubicon in the midst of this struggle for coral, working under the infamous handler, Walter.
One of the infamous handler Walter's hounds.
Rubicon itself is a mining planet that was hit by a cosmic catastrophe that scorched the planet, which we can actually see back in the first reveal trailer for AC6.
Looks so cool.
So this is a post-apocalyptic planet, and our story picks up several decades after the catastrophe. There are several different locations that were shown here to give us an idea of the kind of spread of maps that we're going to be seeing in the various missions of Armored Core 6. We've got this one that shows the giant man-made shells that enclose parts of the planet Rubicon. There's a humongous military base that is several kilometers across and carved within the ice, and an underground facility hidden deep within the surface of the planet that eventually expands outward into an underground dungeon. With regards to the map design, I was told that the developers prioritized, quote, tempo changes through movement and an abundance of situations.
Okay.
While Armored Core and the Soul series are
did I miss something? Is this open world? Wait, I think the leak said something about that. I don't know. Let's continue.
Very different genres, the developers told me that they're looking to apply their map design expertise honed during the development of the Soul series. Now let's jump ahead again to some of the combat, and you'll note that, yeah, it's pretty fast-paced. But it's also got a tactical base as well, thanks to the sheer amount of customization options that you have with regards to your mech. You can dramatically change your fighting style based on your choices of what to outfit your mech with. Like here, we see that changing out the mech's legs to a quadruped allows it to hover and rain down fire from above. Contrast that to this bit, where the mech has tank-like treads and is able to bulldoze and power slide through enemies. And then of course you have the traditional bipedal loadout with lots of bursty movement that lets you dart in and out of both long and close range. FromSoft described the combat system as being highly dynamic and one that rewards careful but aggressive play. There's a stagger system at play too that forces the enemy into a system's down state when the player is able to continuously hit them with consecutive strikes.
So annoying when you're fighting your friend and you fucking
bound by these same rules, which
have your systems go down. They sit there and
where the
chop
player
you
must
up.
consider when to get up close and be aggressive and when to back off to avoid getting staggered. Fortunately, transitioning between ranged and close combat is seamless, allowing players to employ both options freely. And finally, the trailer wraps up with a look at some of the bosses you'll face off against. One of the core pillars of design in Armored Core 6 is for it to be a game that gives players, quote, the satisfaction of overcoming challenging situations and earning hard-won victories. Boss battles will be a key feature, and they are designed to be battles that players will be expected to attempt multiple times, learning and adapting to the boss's unique attack patterns with every attempt.
Sounds very Souls-like.
And that is our breakdown of the Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon trailer, with some
which is fine because in past Armored Cores, except for, I guess, 4, a lot of the boss fights were just fighting other mechs, which I hope is still here. I'm sure it will be. But 4 introduced some really cool early beginnings of trying to do more intricate or interesting boss fights, and this is definitely seeming to carry that forward. And obviously coming from the Dark Souls past, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, they're gonna definitely take some of those
need help in
some of the things they've learned with that and bring it to this, and it sounds like that's exactly what they're doing, which is very cool. All right, so those are the details. Wait,
Mecha franchise, and for everything else, keep it here on IG.
Yeah, so Rubicon, they're fighting over a resource, I think it was called coral, on a post-apocalyptic planet, which is very interesting. Comes out August. I'm so excited. It seems like they were saying if you have tank treads, you're able to actually drive through people. Is that like an ability? Because that's kind of interesting. And then you can hover with the legs. That's interesting. Boost around with the bipedal legs. That makes sense. It's really interesting to hear them specify that they're bringing their pedigree and map design over to this. Of course they would, but it's cool they even mentioned that. It means they're thinking about it. The attention to bosses as well, and saying they want you to go multiple times against them makes sense. I mean, it sounds like a Elden Ring or something. So that's cool. Nothing new to Armored Core as well, though. I remember when I was younger and you're going through the arena fighting all these mechs, and then you get to a certain one to kick your ass, you got to go and fight it again. So this is nothing new to Armored Core or to FromSoftware, but it does definitely sound a little more similar to what they've been doing recently in terms of boss battles, and they look really cool. They're definitely different looking, intricate looking. There's the one with the thing that split open and shot the missiles, which look really cool. There's that one that looked like it's in the center of the room, is swinging at them. So it looks like we're going to have a really good variety in bosses, which I'm happy to see. I didn't expect to see bosses that looked so different like that, but definitely welcome and definitely really cool. All right, let's jump into the story, combat, and settings video.
augmented human, C4621.
Love the colors.
has awakened.
Looks so
What's up,
fucking
everyone?
cool.
My name is Mitchell Saltzman, and today I'm joined remotely all the way from Japan by producer Yasunori Ogura.
That guy looks like he got up early, too.
Armored Core 6. How are you?
Hi there, I'm great, thank you. I'm Yasunori Ogura from fromsoftware, producer on Armored Core 6. It's great to be here.
How long has Armored Core 6 been in development, and what has it been like for FromSoftware to return to this franchise that was such a big part of the company for such a long time?
So we have been cultivating development staff through our experience with recent titles, and there were many members of staff, including Miyazaki and myself, who've wanted to make a new Armored Core game for a long time. So really, not making a new Armored Core was never really an option. It was a case of when rather than if. As to the game's direction and development, in around 2018, Miyazaki and some core members of the team began initial direction and forming the basic core concept of AC6. And after prototyping was complete, our director Yamamura took over on the project. However, as you know, we have several projects going on at the same time within the company, so we had to get an ideal allocation of resources. We had to get the right staff on board, which resulted in a slightly longer wait, but we're happy to finally bring a new Armored Core to our fans.
So
That's funny to listen to because I remember people, anytime I was like, oh, I want an Armored Core, I'd have people tell me like, well, it's a dead series. They're not going to bring it back. I'm like, they'll bring it back at some point. Like, how do you not? So it makes sense. They said like it's a matter of, when, not if. But also if you think about their trajectory and just that momentum they've had building up what FromSoftware is now, and you think about, just Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, huge, Sekiro wins Game of the Year, Bloodborne, which is like one of my favorite games ever made, and then Elden Ring. It's like, how do you stop that trajectory? And it seems like now is the time. It's like perfect because like Elden Ring came out, it's gigantic. They can do whatever the hell they want now. And like I said in my leak video, at this point, even if you're not an Armored Core fan, maybe you're younger, maybe you just never got into it in the past, the name FromSoftware will sell this at this point. They're so big now that it doesn't matter what they do, and they're going to bring quality to it. So it does seem like the perfect time for Armored Core to be coming out now. So.
can you tell us a little bit about the story of Armored Core 6 and whether newcomers will be able to jump right into this entry if they haven't played any of the other
Nope,
ones?
you gotta go back and play all 5 of them.
This is a brand new story and has no direct link to previous titles. AC6 takes place in a future where interstellar travel is commonplace, not on Earth, but on a fictional planet in a distant star system called Rubicon 3. Rubicon is a devastated planet that was razed to ash in a great disaster caused by the outbreak of a mysterious new substance called coral.
Activating cerebral coral control device.
Which occurred half a century before the events of the game take place. At the outset of the game and the story, the player learns that coral, which was thought lost in this great disaster, has been rediscovered. And
You gotta send in a planet
extraterrestrial
cracker
forces
to
have
get those
begun an
resources.
invasion race to acquire the rights to this mysterious and powerful new substance. So they are at conflict with the indigenous forces who are resisting their invasion on the planet Rubicon. And the player, as a lone
Avatar.
independent mercenary and AC pilot, is thrust into this Rubicon war for coral. So although AC6 is a numbered title, the setting and story are completely new, and we believe it makes a great first entry into the series.
No, that is
for newcomers
perfect. I'm
and
glad they did it
fans.
that way.
We're close to Rubicon. Wake the dog up.
So let's talk a little bit about Rubicon as a setting. Is there anything that's unique about the planet that will allow for kind of unique mission structures that people haven't seen in the Armored Core series previously?
There are two things we'd like to convey to both newcomers and old hands to the series. Armored Core offers two unique game experiences. First is this dynamic, three-dimensional action that can only be achieved with mix. And the second is the ability to customize your own personal AC by combining multiple parts and
Hell
decorating
yeah.
it to your liking with painting and decals and the like. So these player-assembled, player-controlled ACs are able to fly freely through the air and handle multiple weapons simultaneously and turn on a dime, dash in different directions at once. This makes for a dynamic and very aggressive combat style that makes full use of the three-dimensional space, and we feel that this has always been an appeal of the Armored Core series and is an appeal of the mech action genre.
For die-hard Armored Core fans, what are the elements of Armored Core 6 that those hardcore fans are going to find appealing about this game?
With AC6, one area we focused on was to make sure that the customization aspect is not just about parameters going up and down and numerical values changing, but how these changes are reflected in the feel of the action as much as possible. In particular, the leg parts, which control the AC's movement, you might have a tank type legs that can perform drift turns, and this changes the very basic behavior and traversal type of the AC. We also made sure that the behavior of weapons, such as the way they shoot, how they recoil, how their projectiles behave, we tried to make sure that this all makes a big difference in how the game feels and plays.
So one thing I really like about what he's saying is if you played Armored Cores in the past, tank treads were basically just armor. Like, it changed the way you moved. You couldn't boost around much. You could still fly, but you'd be really slow, and you'd move around pretty slow on the ground, but it just gave you more armor. So if someone's shooting, you can take more rounds. And that was a interesting trade-off. But now they're adding like characteristics, properties to adding the tread onto your mech is really cool, because this now gives you a different way to play, as opposed to if you're somebody who's just jetting around in the air. Being able to like drift and stuff gives you some different ways to be mobile, which I think is really cool. And that scene they keep showing where he goes through the enemies boosting, it makes me wonder if that's like an ability, or if you just drive really fast you can hit people. I don't know, but I'm glad they're making it more than, like he said, just numerical values. All right, let's continue.
So speaking a little bit about that customization, Armored Core games have a bit of a reputation for being very complex, with many stats to consider, parts to swap in and out. Is there anything else that you guys are planning on doing with Armored Core 6 to make it a little more approachable for newcomers who might not be used to that level of complexity?
They gotta learn.
As you mentioned,
They gotta
Armored
adapt.
Core has always been a game with many parameters, and is a game where you can enjoy the complexity and
It's not even
depth it
that
offers.
complex.
But we feel it's also a game where you can enjoy simply by assembling your AC without thinking too deeply about it, and adjust the appearance to your liking, and simply get out there and pilot it and take it into combat. That said, in regard to new players, we've taken careful steps with the onboarding and level design in the early stages of the game, so that players can deepen their understanding step by step, little by little, and work their way into that fun of the more complex parts. We've also prepared a training simulator where the player can learn the basics of action and assembly using sample ACs, and we've also tried to make the controls more intuitive, so that we hope that those who have
I'll be curious how they
experience with the
handle
series
controls.
will feel free to enter and enjoy the feel of piloting their very own Armored Core.
Are there any lessons that you guys have learned over the many years you've spent developing the Souls games that you take into the development of Armored Core 6, even though they're kind of two very different genres?
Armored Core 6 is an attempt to take both the knowledge and experience gained from the development of our previous titles and combine it with the fun of mech customization that the AC series has always embraced. And in this sense, we hope to create a new mech action game that is worthy of modern fromsoftware standards. Specifically, we're developing this game with an awareness of the things that fromsoftware has always embraced in its other action games, such as a intricate map structure, combat design that allows players to deal with enemies by carefully observing their movements, and the ability to overcome challenging situations with ingenuity and creativity. These are all, of course, things we've kept in mind with AC6 as well. However, as you mentioned, the basic format and genre of Armored Core is completely different from games in, for instance, the Souls lineage. So there are no aspects of the game mechanics or gameplay that can be directly observed.
You ready to climb
Okay,
the wall?
love that.
Can you talk a
Great
little
answer.
bit about your goals with the combat design, and are there any kind of mechanics that players should know about that perhaps didn't exist in previous Armored Core games?
In terms of points we focused on this time around, I would say that individuality of the melee weapons is one of the key points. Armored Core is mainly a shooting game at heart, and that's exactly why we had this policy of having more unique melee weapons this time around. So in addition to
He's
the
like
well-known
stabbing him and
pile
swinging
bunker
and shit.
and the cluster bomb launcher that you might have seen in the trailer, there are also a variety of weapons with different animations and more unconventional characteristics, such as a chainsaw and a laser lance, and things like this. In the trailer, you may have also seen a part where the core is deployed by an AC to generate a shockwave, and the pile bunker is then used against an opponent who is reeling back from this shockwave. This kind of building combos with multiple weapons aspect is an appeal of AC6's unique assembly and combat, and we hope the players will enjoy using their creativity and asking themselves, what combination of weapons can I use to
Yeah, I hope there's
create
like a
my
flow
ideal
between it,
combo
because in
attacks and
prior
secure
ones, you're just like fly around
Is there
shooting until you
any
close ground and
one
then slash.
new thing, whether it's a mechanic or a mech part or a weapon, that you're particularly proud of and are excited for players to experience in Armored Core 6?
I'd like players to mostly look forward to something we touched on earlier, which is this using their ingenuity and creativity to create a combination of their own making, and a combination of the various parts and weapons at their disposal. So, for example, they might be dashing across the battlefield while shooting ballistic weapons and letting missiles fly in every which direction. These missiles will connect with their enemy, knock them off balance, and then they'll use their assault boost to dash in with a quick burst of speed and finish with a melee strike. This kind of player-created combo and their own unique combination of weaponry and mobility will allow for this new aggressive, offensive style of AC combat, and we hope this is something that reinvigorates the series and that new and old fans alike can enjoy.
Multiplayer has always been a big part of the Armored Core series. Is there anything you can tell us about multiplayer in Armored Core 6?
So I believe ACV was more focused on multiplayer as the last title in the series. But first of all, the main content of AC6
Let's not talk about that one.
As a single-player campaign mode where you progress through a more traditional mission structure. There will be an online PvP mode where players can compete against each other with ACs they have built and share their AC data and emblems of their own making with other users. But first and foremost, the story missions in AC6 are single player only. We would like players to go in there, become the lone mercenary lifestyle, and enjoy this aspect of the game first and foremost. We do hope to share more details about the online aspect at a later
co-op
so
campaign, but the way 5 went down, I'm okay with them just doing single player. They got a little too creative with 5.
All right, well, that about wraps it up. Ogura-san, thank you so much for your time.
I hope they have an arena.
Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon
too.
is set for release this August 25th on PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. Thanks for watching, and for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.
All right, we got some good info there. A lot of things kind of confirmed, especially when they're talking about kind of bringing their pedigree of what From Software is good at and what they've done with their recent games. Also with the confirmation that they are not making a Dark Souls game that's reskinned. I know a lot of newer gamers or people who maybe just didn't play Armored Core back in the day when Armored Core was announced, 6. There's a lot of people kind of expecting this to be, even in the leak. In the leak, they kept talking about how it's going to be like, a Dark Souls game, and they kept comparing a lot of things to Dark Souls. And I was like, I'll play it if you do that, but I really hope that if you're going to name it Armored Core, you're going to make it like Armored Core. And I'm glad that he specified that they are bringing their map design, their boss design, their philosophy on challenging gameplay that they're known for at this point. And they're bringing that and meeting it with, the gameplay of Armored Core, and not, a Souls game where, there's multiple directions you can move in. combos and in different weapon types, which I'm also glad he talked about, because I'm fine either way. I like the old way Armored Core plays, but they kind of emphasized comboing, and then also emphasized that they're putting more work into melee combat. It's really fucking cool, because there's a variety of sword types in the older ones, but that's definitely something that could be improved upon. And they talk about that there's lances, chain swords. Everybody's not going to be using like the same fucking sword in this, and that's really, really cool sounding. So yeah, some confirmations there, some more details. The multiplayer is interesting, because that's something I've definitely been wanting to hear about. And like I said before, I'm glad they are sticking with a single player focus, just to make sure that experience is just going to be good. Not have to worry about networking. Not have to worry about co-op philosophy of how are we going to do this? Is it going to be like a hub-based game? Is it going to be just invite-only type stuff? And so I am glad they're focusing on that, but I am also glad to hear that they are going to have PvP, because that's a staple. Armored Core has had PvP since the beginning, whether it's split screen or well, I guess it's been split screen for most of them, but in modern times you do that online. So that's cool. I would like to see some kind of added on later cooperative thing, whether it's the campaign, doesn't have to be, or some kind of like arena mode where you can play with your friends. That would be really fucking cool. Just because one of the things that's always fun about Armored Core is in PvP, seeing somebody else's mech build. Nowadays, everybody's just going to look online and make the best build possible. But that was always a lot of fun back in the day, and I could see that being cool in a cooperative sense as well. Bringing different types of mechs into combat to fight things would be really neat. Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm not going to go over every little thing, because a lot of the stuff was stuff we kind of already heard in the last video, and a lot of things that are kind of a given. But I'm really excited for this. I can't wait to play this. It's coming out this year, so it's not even that far out. In August, that's not very far. It's looking finished. It's looking polished. I like how much they're trying to keep this like the original AC games, definitely earning that name Armored Core, while bringing some subtle improvements in terms of like what they've learned as a dev moving forward, and being able to make this now. It's really exciting to hear, and yeah, I just can't wait to play this. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think of the Armored Core 6 gameplay trailer? What do you think about all the details? What stood out to you? What are you excited about? What are you curious about? What's something they didn't cover? Maybe something I didn't talk about that you'd like to talk about? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. And yeah, stay tuned. At the very least, we'll have Plus Club and Game of the Month this weekend. I would like to still get out a Tasty Cast, but this week's been so fucked for me, so schedule-wise, so it's been very hard. But if we can do it, we will do it. I would like to get Chevy to at least react to the trailer, so that'd be kind of cool of this. And yeah, look forward to that. We got episodes coming. I've been Seth. Until next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.